Well, thank you for staying tuned. I hope you're enjoying your holidays. We're here bringing you up to speed with happenings around the world of business. And let's move, like I said, very quickly to the manufacturing. That's the umbrella body of manufacturers in the country. They're saying that the nation's manufacturing sector is groaning under multiplicity of taxes and levies, noting that over 30 of such different taxes, levies and fees are being charged by various government agencies and have continued to hamper the competitiveness of Nigeria's manufacturing sector in international space. According to MAN, the development has led to small and medium enterprises losing about 9% of their total income yearly, which runs into billions of naira to such multiple charges against the backdrop of the advent of African Continental Free Trade Area that puts Nigeria manufacturers at a disadvantage with their African counterparts, where the nation's corporate tax rate over 30%, well above the global average of 23.37%, an average of 27.6%. Let's talk more on this, and no other person than the Director General Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadir, joins me via Zoom. Thank you so much. Happy Ramadan celebrations.
Thank you very much for having me. Happy Ramadan.
And thank you for your time. We appreciate this.
Thank you.
All right, let's look at the industry. I know we've had conversations before now, but today I want us to start with the fallout of the cash crunch, which everyone got a pinch of. Everybody got a feel of the negativity of that process, how it affected businesses and all of that. Tell us, what is happening? Can you tell us that things have returned to normal 100%?
Well, thank you very much again for having me. The Naira crunch hit every sector of the economy badly. I mean, there's no question about that. And that was why the CBN had to review that policy. Ordinarily, the policy is at this time for us to be able to allow the CBN to take control of the management of our monetary system in the country. But the timing of it, the implementation of it, and also the way the fallout was managed tended to leave these negative outcomes for everyone. For us in the manufacturing sector, it was a big one, in the sense that we were already experiencing low sales trajectory. Then the cash crunch came, and it became impossible for an average citizen to make purchases. As you know, the manufacturer would like to produce, but that is not the end of it. The end of it is selling. So when you are not able to sell, you even start to invest in procuring warehouses where you are going to store those goods that you ordinarily should have sold. So when the disposable income of the average Nigerian reduced, and even the cash he has, he couldn't access it, it's not possible to make purchases, particularly when the retail end of the market is not fully digitalized. So you cannot have a system that is cash driven and having to have less of it. So for us in the manufacturing sector, it was a long one. And happily, I think we are beginning to see a lessening of the negative impact. It is not yet uhuru, as they say, but we are beginning to notice that we are able to record more sales, and that somehow we've been able to see an increase in the use of technology to make purchases. So I think the original objective of driving everyone towards a cashless society, inadvertently, I guess, must have been, in a way, improved by what we have seen, because there's a tremendous increase in purchases by digital means. And I think that's what we would have loved to have, but without the hardship. But by the way, I think that the CBN has learned its lessons, and I believe that what we have now, if it's sustained, we believe that before we finish the next quarter of the year, we should have a normalization. That's our aspiration.
Well, indeed. I wouldn't ask you that question, but some say we should start to prepare ahead of December so that this same thing doesn't happen again. Industrialization in recent times, fourth industrial revolution, and all of this. And even the manufacturers, I think our general meeting the last time also focused on this. There were a lot of talks around industrialization. Are we on track with this?
Thank you, Tolu. You know, you and I have had very long conversations on this. And the position we take is that industrialization, and particularly manufacturing, is not the ordinary vocation that an individual engages in. It is a strategic choice that a nation has to make. You have to decide whether you want to industrialize or whether you want to have a viral manufacturing sector to achieve some objectives. It is not something you should leave to do. The country has to consciously and intentionally take that decision and then follow through on all the value chain that leads to a successful manufacturing country. There is no nation on earth that is known to be developed, advanced, or wealthy that does not have a viral manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector has the multiplier effect on our social structures. Is it employment? Is it CSR? Is it technological advancement? Is it relieving people of frustration that lack of jobs are likely to bring? Or is it generally reviving and revolving the economy in such a way that every segment feels it? You find it in manufacturing. So for a very long time, man is 50 years old. And what we have been advocating, which we didn't seem to have been able to convince the country, is that manufacturing has to be brought into the front burner, as they say. Government needs to remove the impediment that has continued to plague the manufacturing sector over the years. What is happening is that most governments have paid lip service to manufacturing. And this does not augur well for us. My take is that this has been responsible for the lack of progress we are making in the economy. Take, for instance, the commonly referred to forex scarcity. Manufacturing remains the only sector or the leading sector that can help you to resolve the. When you produce, you export. And when you export, you repatriate your profit. It comes in dollars. So it helps to reinforce what you will have normally gotten from oil that everybody knows is inadequate. So it is a wonder why we will not, as a country, as a government, decide to remove all the impediments that have continued to limit the performance of the manufacturing sector. To answer your question directly, we have not made much appreciable progress. It is not that we are not making progress, but the progress we are making have been virtually insignificant for us to be able to say that we are there. I mean, there are quite a number of events happening around us. We have the AFCFTA now that leaves the opportunity for us to marshal a competitive manufacturing sector to deliver in the continent. Nigeria has supported Africa in numerous ways. Whenever there's any conflict anywhere, Nigeria is there to help. Whenever a government is being toppled anywhere, Nigeria is there to help. We have moved through ECOMOG. We have done so many things for our African brothers, but we have not been able to take advantage of the African economy. And that is because of our competitiveness. If you have capacity utilization in the manufacturing sector hovering around 50%, what do you do with the balance of 50%? How does it impact on the jobs that every nation struggles to provide for its citizens? How has it enabled us to be able to benefit from all that we have done in Africa? Even our trade policies, our policies that will have promoted adequate local production for us to be able to have market penetration, we are not doing. I have listened to several conversations about what, for instance, they are in the country to do. And I have jokingly told my friends that when we were queuing to vote at elections, I didn't see any IMF official coming to vote. The country has elected a president now. I didn't see any IMF person coming to queue and vote. So why will you listen to them and not listen to me? If you take all the employees that we have in the manufacturing sector, they run into millions.
Yes.
And they must have voted. So why would you favor an organization that is continuing to tell you to tax its people when their disposable income is low, when the local environment does not support their prosperity? It doesn't make any sense. So I think that the manufacturing, the most governments have paid lip service to promoting manufacturing. And I believe that, I hope we will still have this conversation. There is need for us to consciously look at that sector and see the stakeholders in that sector. And there are several recommendations that have been made to allow this to happen. So to answer your question directly, sorry I've spent so much time on it, because it's quite painful for you to see a situation where government just seems insensitive to this narrative.
Indeed, points really made there, and for better understanding, DG, that was very, very nice. You really got to dip into that question, and we appreciate that. I'm sure our viewers too will appreciate that. Let's talk about agencies of government now. We talk about promoting Made in Nigeria. I'm also a fan of that. Made in Nigeria, let's promote ours, let's keep all of these funds in country and all of that. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Nigerian Investment Promotion, and all of them, all of these agencies, how are they supporting our manufacturers to move our products outside the country?
Well, normally we work very closely with these agencies because in one way or the other, our advocacy, the success of our advocacy effort depends on how much leverage we are able to have with them. And the agencies you have mentioned, particularly NEPC, we have worked with them. They are supportive in terms of helping us to promote the exportation of our products. But you will see that we have situations where when a Nigerian produces and he wants to export, sometimes the goods to be exported will start struggling right from the factory to the port of exit, and you will have it nearing its expiry period. You to export as is it for you to import. So you can now see a situation where all the government agencies needed to work together. If the NEPC is promoting export, and we have some other organizations that are relevant to certifying the exports we are going to make that are making it difficult, then it becomes an issue of a government sabotaging itself. So my take is that yes, the agencies are there. Yes, we have good relationship with them, NAFDAC, NEPC, SON, and so on. Fantastic relationship we have with them. But if there is no coordination among them, and they continue to operate in silos, and in some cases engage in unhealthy competition, it is not good for the manufacturer. It is the case of two elephants fighting and the grass suffering. Because for us, we have to rely on their goodwill for us to be able to achieve our objective. And I think that has to be made clear. One wonders actually why there is this lack of coordination and interagency collaboration. Because we are working for the same government. And the objective of government is the well-being of the people. So if we are able to have a vibrant economy, it should support everyone. The craze for generating revenue has tended to becloud the original objective of most regulatory agencies of government. And I think that is why it is sometimes very, very difficult for them to achieve their mandate.
Well, let's wrap up on this note. Interesting conversation. You already touched on the AFCFTA, but I will still say that, are we ready to partake in the goodies in this very big market? And also, what are the low-hanging fruit? Yes, in about 30 to 35 days, we expect the president-elect inauguration and all of that. What are the low-hanging fruits for the manufacturing sector?
Well, thank you very much. I think this is yet another opportunity for us to set agenda, and I believe that the president-elect will by now have his economic team, and they will be scanning the environment to understand what needs to be done. Several organizations, including the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, have prepared and have even made known and will be willing to continue to make known to the incoming government about the low-hanging fruits that you have mentioned. I wouldn't like to bother you with the familiar challenges that we have. There are immediate issues that needs to be tackled. For instance, the error that are in the process of being committed or have only recently been committed to be reversed. And one of it is the threat of departure from the roadmap that the government has set for itself in terms of increase in excise for alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages and tobacco. This was an agreement that was reached in the year 2022, and it was supposed to last for 3 years and finish year 2024. The situation we are having now is that there's a threat of government departure from it, even before the impact on this current of this policy is on all the manufacturers. The sector is food and beverage, which is one of the most vibrant sectors that you have. And then you are now putting a lot of burden on them and threatening the employment. So I think that the incoming administration, if by any chance the outgoing government commits the error of departing from this agreement, the immediate thing the government should do within its first 100 days is to reverse it. When government makes a promise and reaches an agreement with stakeholders, government should keep its own side of the story. As we speak, the Naira, the currency transition crunch, and even the insecurity that we have in the environment has compounded the progress that we are making in that particular sector. And so to complicate it by increasing it while this government is exiting is undesirable. So an agenda is ready for this government. Our prayer is that even if this outgoing government makes that error of increasing it, it should be reversed. Another issue is also the patronage of made in Nigerian products. The presidency, the National Assembly, all government ministry departments and agencies should lead by example. There is a law in this country that requires all government agencies to give priority to patronage of made in Nigerian products. I hope that the new administration, within its first 100 days, will institute a monitoring, evaluation, and an enforcement unit of all levels of government, particularly the federal government. And this should be de-escalated to the states and the local government to purchase goods that are made in the country. We have again the forex policy that has not helped productivity. We agree that we have limited forex in terms of the ill fortunes that we have in the oil industry. But we need to prioritize the allocation of the ones that we have. And the most sensible thing for you to do is to support the productive sector so that you can reflect the economy and you can get the much desired forex. The issue of infrastructure, power remains a major issue. And there are low-hanging fruits in that sector to boost productivity. For instance, by the pronouncement of the Minister of Power itself, we have the eligible customer scheme, which gives manufacturers especially who require more than 2 megawatts of electricity to take power directly from TCN. The discos, between the discos and the NEC, they have found a way to make it impossible for those manufacturers that are qualified to benefit from this. The government should come in and actually give targets to NEC to ensure that manufacturers that are qualified, in fact, they should give numbers. I would suggest like 25. case of the incoming government, they should license at least 25 deserving manufacturers to assess the eligible customer scheme.
Wow.
There are quite a number of...
I know there's a lot. I know there's a lot. I know you can go on and on. I know there's a lot that you have in the plate for the new administration. But points noted are very key. The DJ, I must thank you so much. We'll follow up with this discussion, of course. We'll keep on talking about all of this so that we'll bring it up to speed with expected economic team and everyone, so that at least all of this can be brought into fruition. You know, it's good that all of this become actualized, because the manufacturing sector remains very important for Nigeria's economy. Thank you, Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadir. He's the Director General, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Tolu.
Well, a lot needs to be done.